Hi, I'm Lloyd.
And I'm Heidi.
And we are
the U-Haulers. So we were reading this week. It was Valentine's Day this week.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Belated.
Yeah. And so the New York Times put out a couple of articles that were talking about 7 scientific ways to strengthen your relationship and 36 questions to ask so that you could fall in love with a total stranger, things like this, right? So it's
Heidi was very excited about all this.
Yeah, I'm kind of nerdy. So, nerdy? Is that what it is? Or geeky? What is it? Do you know?
Nerdy?
Okay. Anyway.
Wait, can I point out one thing really quick?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is my daddy's birthday.
Yeah.
And he passed on. But he would always, when I'd say, "Happy birthday, Daddy," he'd always say, "Happy birthday, Oregon." So his birthday is on Valentine's Day, which is Oregon's birthday. So every time someone says Happy Valentine's Day, I think in my head, "Happy birthday, Oregon." So happy birthday, Oregon.
Happy birthday, Oregon. Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about, how to continue to strengthen our relationship, all these things. Like, we're clearly in a great spot. We just got engaged. So we're still in that phase, right? So probably a little less important for us. But I'm a big believer in staying ahead of this and not having to play catch up.
Yes.
So we decided today we were going to, off the cuff, come up with some questions designed to increase our reciprocal deep dive into one another, because they say that that's how you can keep a strong relationship. But before we do that, Lloyd and I both have been practicing gratitude. I practice gratitude very, very intentionally because it's supposed to really help with anxiety, and I really struggle with anxiety. I've been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, etc. And this pandemic has not been my friend that way. So I really work specifically with gratitude to try to reduce that. But one of the things that we read this week in these articles is...
I'm not sure. I'm waiting with bated breath because I don't even know what you're about to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Oh, okay.
But is to practice gratitude around your partner. That can definitely increase and deepen not only your appreciation for one another, but your relationship. So at the beginning, we don't have to do... It says to, name 5 things, but it's anticipating that you will, sit down and write these things out. So we're just going to maybe give a couple.
Things we're grateful for each other?
Things we're grateful about.
Each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I am extremely grateful for the way that you, kind of move about the space with the family. You're really, really patient when the kids come in and want to wrestle, when they are all over the place, when they interrupt. You have just a very serene response to the chaos that is a big, big family. And you're able to kind of follow the thread with our conversation, even if we're interrupted. And I'm just very grateful that you don't sort of throw your hands up and give up on the whole
Don't pack my bags.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
Well, thank you, baby. I'm very grateful that you have a way of accepting. I mean, you do this with everyone, but I'm specifically grateful for me, of how you just accept me for how I am, and not just accept it, but you celebrate it. So you always talk about how I'm magical, but it's because you make me feel magical, because you just see magic in me. And so with most, where I'd probably be annoying and they would want to beat me up, you find magic in it and you make me just feel amazing all the time, and you just accept me and make me flourish and, celebrate me in every way, quirks and, weaknesses and strengths and all of it as a big package. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, one more, or do you want to be done?
No, I mean...
What? Okay, so one more. So
okay.
I am very grateful for your commitment to our future, and that you have a vision for how you'd like our family to move forward, right? So both in faith, in finances, in sort of heart projects and dreams and all of those things. You just seem to have a very clear vision for our future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mine actually goes around the same lines, surprisingly. So I'm really grateful of how much you support my career and my dreams in every way. So I feel like you feel that way about me. That's how I feel about you, is that you I'm the creative, and I have all these million balls in the air at all times, and some can bring tons of money and some can bring no money for long periods of time. And you are so supportive of wanting me to pursue those dreams, and you are excited with me and passionate with me, and you help me read lines and study lines and shoot, videos, and are just there for all of it, as well as if I get discouraged or want to give up, you encourage me not to and help me to see the value in it and give me my passion back and get me excited for it again. And so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So anyway, that's one of the exercises that are, I guess there was a article that said there were 7 scientifically proven ways to strengthen your relationship, right? So there was a bunch of stuff that we kind of looked at because we were excited about this. Thought, oh, this will be fun. Let's share it with our folks, you all. And but that one was one where it was kind of more for people who weren't just getting to know each other.
So we have decided to do our own relationship quiz. So I'll just ask a question,
Okay.
and then you ask a question, and then we'll both answer.
Each question. We
We'll
both answer each
yeah.
question. Okay.
Okay. So I want to know the first day we met when we were kids.
Yeah.
And even just around that time, like what is like what's the first like impression, and then also what's your biggest memory about me?
Okay. So I thought you were big, like a little crazy. Like not crazy in a bad way, but like, oh wow, just a lot of energy. Really big. All your stories were big. You still have some of this as a tendency where you'll be like, this was the best ever.
Yeah.
Everything is the best.
This is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yes.
It's the biggest thing that's ever happened.
It's amazing.
The most amazing thing happened to me today.
Yeah. And you
this
were
is the craziest thing that's ever happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you were very, every time we talked, it was that. And I remember just always being a little startled. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, today was better than yesterday? Like, because yesterday was the best ever. So
it just kept getting better, baby.
Yeah. No, it was a really positive energy.
I had a professor, a dean of college, actually, that used to talk about that about me.
Oh.
And he'd be like, he was kind of like a second father, and he'd be like, how is this like the hottest person you've ever met? I thought, and I'm like, they just keep getting hotter. How is this the best movie you've ever seen? I thought last week you saw the best movie. I'm like, I know, but this is even better than that one.
Yeah. You just were big. You had this big energy, right? And it was never quiet.
Yeah.
Never quiet.
Remember one time you talked about you picture me like hopping up on a table. I have
You
no
would
idea what
hop
you're
up.
talking about.
Oh, that memory. Yeah. So we were in an editing bay or an editing suite or something like that. I don't remember. And you were just outside of it. And I remember coming out to get water or something. I was taking a break. And you popped up. I swear it was as if you had like springs on your shoe. Like pop. Like you didn't like lift yourself or slide in or do, you popped up onto this table and like proceeded from there to like, yeah.
Okay.
Just big energy.
So, and that, from the first day you met me, that was like the memory of the first day?
Yeah, well, the first day you were kind of called out because you had missed this, the night before we had this dinner thing. And so you were kind of called
Always
out
late.
by the...
I missed the whole thing.
Late by hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, not called out in a mean way, but it was like, oh, and you have to meet Lloydine, like she made it, right?
She,
and
isn't dead. And
right, because we were a little bit concerned, right? No one really knew why you weren't at the dinner, and it was this, group of us that was all going to be journeying together for this period of time, and so then I remember, and you just kind of like popped up and waved, and like you were very confident, very
like, I'm the late one. Cool, nice to meet you.
never cocky. It never felt like arrogant or but just like, yeah, what's not to like, right? Yeah,
This is who I am. My biggest impression always is your big eyes staring up at me, because every time I tell these big stories, you were always just startled and looking up with these big eyes, but very interested and taking part in the stories and like, wow. And when I look back, I do remember that editing. I don't remember popping up on the table, but I do remember coming in and being excited that you were there and talking. But the two main memories I have of you when I think back is when telling you about the rain story, when I had to shoot in the rain and it was freezing and the coldest day of my life, and you'll never believe what happened, and just so excited to tell you that story, and telling you, and you're just like, hanging on every word, and then big eyes looking up at me. And then when I wrote that poem for the whole class, about everyone in the class, and like kind of the roast, and and how I teased you a lot throughout it, and you just like embarrassed but excited, at each time with a big smile, because everyone was just staring at you throughout the whole thing, and I was just really giving you a hard time. And I remember just being really excited about that, and it was fun. I just remember you being very accepting of it. And so that's my memories.
Got it. All right, so one of my questions is, if you could go back in your life from that point, like from meeting me, right, until now, and keep what we have, right? Keep this relationship, keep our kids, keep the life we're building. Right. Is there anything you would change, right? Is there anything that you would, so kind of like that would just add to what we have, I guess, right? Something like.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So I would look you up on Facebook. Or Instagram, or any of the things, which I did not for some reason all those years, and would have found you because I came to LA a lot, even when I had moved away, and didn't know that you had moved back here from Minnesota after moving away, or Wisconsin, or
Minnesota. But
you're in both those places.
Yeah.
I'm confused. So I would have not only reconnected with you sooner, but most importantly is the time that you were, divorcing and a single mom, and the kids were, I think, 3. Is that right?
Just about 4, yeah.
Yeah, almost 4. I came to LA and could have connected with you, and I don't even mean it in a way of like we get together back then, right? I wasn't even out at the time, or even knowing that would be a possibility. But as a friend, I would have connected with you, and I would have got to know the kids. And that is my favorite age ever. Our kids were the cutest kids alive at that age when I see pictures and videos. But that's also my favorite age, and like that 4 to 6 kind of.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to be a part of that. And instead, I met them when they were 8 and still magical and stunning and cute and little. But just like that extra, several years in their life at such a pivotal time, like I really regret that, because it would have been such an easy thing. Because usually people can't say that, right? They're like, well, we didn't meet then, right? But we did, and we were close, and we stayed in contact with mutual friends that we were close with that were also close with the other one. And so it really just doesn't make a lot of sense that I never, before that day, asked Dawn about you,
right?
And I guess, everything happens for a reason, but if I could change it, I would. And also, I really wish I would have come out to LA when you were bartending. Because, one, you had to wear that corset where your boobs were, like, spilling out. And you told me about it. And then what did you have to wear in the other bartending job?
I just wore T-shirts, like rock T-shirts.
Okay, yeah, that's hot as well. And I think bartending is so sexy, and so I wish I would have got to see you like in your element as a bartender, and like come and like surprise you and hung out with you, and had like a kick-ass night on my way through town, like when we were adults, and that would have been amazing. So those are like my 2.
Nice.
Yeah. You?
So I think if I could have added anything to like this experience, right, it would have been to kind of bring a little bit more of a put together me to us, right? Like, like I felt like I was a great mom. I felt like I was doing okay career-wise, right? But personally, I had kind of left everything.
Right.
And I feel like I've had to do a lot of catching up, right? Not only just like physically sort of getting healthy, getting fit, getting back into a place where I feel confident, right? But like, I wish I would have been able to bring a little bit more of like the Heidi that you knew then forward, right? And I feel like that has happened over time, right? But maybe she could have been a little bit more present from the beginning.
Yeah. You worked really, really hard at it. And made huge strides in a short amount of time. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, okay. So?
Oh, third question. I wrote them down because biggest difference of me now versus then. You might have already touched on this. I don't know. Anyways, the biggest difference of me as an adult versus.
So I like to say that you have kind of aged like fine wine, right? Like where you still have that really great core personality, positive, excited, hopeful, all those things. But now you would never pop up on a table. You would like slide down to like you're like very cool, very like refined. So I don't know, you just feel like sort of the grown-up cool version of that.
Yeah, I'm definitely more chill for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that I'd slide in.
Yeah. So now, like for example, like you'll like be walking somewhere and realize you have to go somewhere else, and the dean back in the day would be like pop, like change, but now you'll just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Okay. Just much more like self-contained, I think.
Okay.
Me? You?
So the difference from you then to now?
Yeah.
Was that what it was? The biggest difference? Yeah, that was what it was. Biggest difference from you then to now. Well, I mean, our relationship then was so much about me telling you stories and you listening, and you know what I mean, like being very much the introvert and just listening. And now, I mean, you share so much, right? And you talk and you express and I get to know your funny side, and I just get to know you more now, right? Yeah. And so I feel there's so many differences now because, I wouldn't even, I mean, you now tell me you were shy. I didn't know you were shy back then. Yeah. But I now feel that even though you say you're still shy, like, you're so...
Well, not with you. I mean, I'm not shy with you at this point. I mean, right. Dear God.
I would hope. But I'm just saying, like, you're, even when we're in social situations, you're very outgoing, is what I'm saying. Like, you're a social introvert, is what they usually call it. My dad was very much that way. And so, I get to see that side, right? And you, like, when I speak to you, like, you're one of the smartest people I've ever spoken to, and
that's nice.
I just want to walk you around and have you explain everything to everyone. I'll be like, stop, Heidi, explain it. But, like, I wouldn't have known that about you, even though you were definitely smart back then and nerdy and all these things, but you just didn't... I didn't realize you were keeping anyone out. Like, it didn't come across that way. It just came across that you were just super sweet and kind and inclusive. But definitely, I think there was walls up, that where you just were sweet and kind, but you weren't letting people all the way in. And so now I get to see what it's like to,
Yeah, I think that first story where I kind of realized that you were there, right? When that's kind of what I meant, right? Is that I suddenly realized, like, all my defenses are down, and normally I would never, that would just not be a thing, right? Like, I would spend the entire evening with you, listening to your stories, living your life, being excited, doing all those things, and really not sharing, right? And not reciprocating any of that, right? And then to sort of have that just sort of collapse because of who you were showing me that you were, right? That was what was so scary about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I guess my next question kind of pinged off of that, right? Something that you recognize in me from then, right? So, like, that's the biggest difference, right? There's these differences. What is something that you would say is the same that you recognized?
Genuine and the kindness. You're a very genuine person, authentic, and always, kind to everyone, I mean, even if it's someone that you wouldn't really want to chill with, like, they're not going to know that because you're going to make them feel important and, and just be kind. And yeah, you're very authentic and genuine, and that's still just as much there.
Yeah, I found you to be very trustworthy, right? Someone I could really trust, and that, that you just had, like, good. Like, there was just a solid core good to you, and that's there still.
That's good. Yeah. Mama raised me right.
That's right.
Last question?
No, there's two more.
There's two. Okay. What about our future are you most excited about?
Can you answer first? Because I don't know.
Oh, sure. It's hard to put it like in one, but I'm excited. I mean, mostly I'm just excited that like I found my person and she's just gonna be with me all the time. And so I'm excited about traveling with you and all the traveling we want to do. I'm excited about watching the kids grow up, going to the kids' weddings, being a part of children, all the things kids are gonna happen, like we get to do together. I'm excited about just doing life with you, which I know just sounds like such a cliche answer, but I was someone that, I think everyone, I've told you and everyone that I loved dating. Like I just loved it. And I loved swiping and I loved all of it. And being single but I just finding someone that you don't want to ever go away is like a big deal. And that's something that a lot of people kind of always, know that they want. But that's something that I love the single life so much that it was hard for me to imagine. I love being in relationships, so it was hard for me to imagine to find one person where I just want to be with them all the time, and that's just an exciting thing for me.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a lot of mine's wrapped up in that too, right? Just knowing that we're going to sort it out.
Yeah.
That I don't have to sort it out. I don't have to be afraid or to sort it out by myself or, like those really basic things, right? That like, you're going to be here. That, I think the other day I came out of a Zoom meeting and you had gone outside.
Yeah.
And the car was in the driveway.
Well, we had like construction happening in the house and I needed to make a phone call. And I mean, I could not hear at all.
Yeah.
You went in the backyard to do yours.
Yeah, I was doing my appointment outside.
And so I couldn't go out there.
Right.
And inside, you could not hear yourself think. And I got a phone call. So I was like, I don't know where to go. So I went in the front yard. But the only patch of grass there was like to sit on that was
out of the view.
Is around the corner on our front yard.
And I just was like, oh, did she leave? And I was like, huh. And it was just very.
I got a text that was like, "Are you gone?
Are you gone?"
I didn't see it for like a long time, and I was laughing because I was like, she could look outside and never know I'm here.
Yeah, but just that sort of that, like, I mean, it truly feels like home, right? Where it's like, I'm safe here. This is my person, right? Like my person, like you're here, you're gonna be here, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we'll sort the rest of it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Final question.
Last question.
Okay.
What scares you the most about the future?
So I had a lot of people die on me in my life, unfortunately. From a very young age, I've lost both my parents. I, of course, lost, grandparents, and I've unfortunately had a lot of friends die. And so it's just been a really, hard thing. And so I didn't know this, but I finally learned that I guess understandably gave me like a separation anxiety.
Yeah, of course.
I've never really struggled with anxiety in my life, but that's the only place that I've ever even had that word used around me. But like for an example, it's not like a constant thing I think about, but if I wouldn't be able to reach you for a certain amount of time, my mind will go to like, oh my gosh, what if she got in a car wreck? Or if I can't reach someone, like I was dating a flight attendant, and if we were supposed to talk, I wouldn't be upset or worried about our relationship, but if we were supposed to talk and it didn't happen for a long period of time, like it's not instantaneous, but for a long period of time, I would start checking Google to see if American Airlines had a flight go down, like where I kind of know that's not it, but there's that thing where you want to check to make sure, like that little panic. And so I guess my biggest fear would be, and I also, just the thought of like having your person and then all of a sudden just without warning they're gone, and how like to go on with life like that to me is like, I've seen people have to do that, and so that's like my biggest fear is like all of a sudden, like you wake up and you're used to them being there or coming home from work or walking in the room, and all of a sudden you have to keep reminding themselves, oh my gosh, they're not gonna, and you have to figure out how to do life again. So
right. Well, now that's my biggest fear. I mean, I
like tear up just talking about it. But.
Yeah, I fear like so it dovetails a little. I mean, I know we're talking about like in our future, etc., but it dovetails a little, right? Like my biggest fear is losing my mind, right? Losing the ability to, so like dementia, Alzheimer's, things like this, right? That really is something I am afraid of because, you know, you count on your mind for everything, to recognize a relationship, to understand where you are in space and time, to all of those things, right? And so losing those capabilities, those facilities, right? I worry like losing you that way. Like, and in some ways, you know, the horror of continuing to live your life with someone who doesn't recognize you or who doesn't love you, but they do walk in the door. They are home. They're
angry because they have this. But they, reach them. And no, I mean, as you know, that's a fear of mine too.
Right.
I took a lot of Benadryl, y'all. Y'all just need to start praying for me right now. But I had this crazy. We didn't know what was going on, but now it's been diagnosed as non-allergy rhinitis, whatever the hell that means. And it's not curable. But so I took. I don't know why.
Copious amount. I mean, terribly. It was like.
I took the amount of Benadryl that could tranquilize a horse because
crazy.
I didn't have insurance at the time. I didn't have an allergist, and I didn't realize. Like, I was just told people that kept saying, "Yeah, you can take Benadryl," and I had been on Claritin and Zyrtec and all these things that had worked at a time, and they stopped working. And I didn't know because they're 24-hour pills. I thought it was unsafe to take them together. Google would have been my friend, I guess, if I would have looked deeper. But and so I was like, I didn't know that I was supposed to take a Zyrtec and an Allegra, like. Once at morning and once at night, and then take all these nose sprays. And anyways, so I finally got allergists, and we're trying all these things. But I don't fall asleep on Benadryl. So I, started out taking, 1 or 2, and then I would need more, and then went to 4, and then I went to 6. And I mean, so for over a decade, I was on like 9 Benadryl a day, sometimes 6, sometimes 7.
Anyway,
9 and above would be like
pretty
bad.
Normal.
No, that would be like bad.
I see.
I'm at home with a Christmas tree. I'm like visiting someone that's allergic to with a cat or whatever. So that wasn't like an everyday thing, but like 6 and 7 was every day. And I just kept getting told like, read the back and see how much. And it was within the amount you're allowed to take. And everyone kept, at the time, just thought Benadryl was safe. And it is. But it's called the 3rd generation, I think, antihistamine. And so you can take Claritin, but long-term. But Benadryl or Sudafed or any of those, if you take them long-term, Alzheimer's and dementia is being found in studies or people that even took 2 a day long-term. So I have like this huge fear now. So I want to like do all these puzzles and start, they say do puzzles and crossword puzzles and take different ways home from work. I'm like, I got to start now, but yeah.
Different ways home from work. Like, you
Without
do not know where we are.
I don't even know where we live. So.
It's so crazy because we will be chatting and I'll say, oh, okay, so which way did you take to get to the freeway? She's like,
I don't know. Google told me. Ask Google.
I don't know how. Like, you're just not oriented to space at all.
No, I have no sense of direction in any manner.
So don't take a different way home.
I'll get lost.
Yeah.
But I always know I can find my way as long as I have a phone. I will get back.
Does that count? Is that like if you're using Google, then if you take a different route, that's
that doesn't count. What I'm saying is I can try my own way, and then if I get lost, I can always find my way home. No, it doesn't count. The way I do it does not count.
Okay.
I'm not actually putting these practices in.
Wordle. You should do Wordle.
I don't know what that means. It sounds awful.
I think it's like a thing we should know. These are things we should know about, I think.
No. Okay, well.
Anyway.
Wordle.
So, anyway, it's, been Valentine's week, and we're strengthening our relationship and doing these things. You're looking at me like you don't know what I'm saying.
No, I was still very concerned about the Benadryl that I took. I was thinking about it. Like, what a stupid kid. Anyway. You don't know how bad that was, though. It was untenable. I couldn't even,
No, of course.
Get through the day.
I mean, I know a little bit because of how things get when you are off meds now.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, I did know it was Valentine's week. Because you're my Valentine.
Yeah. We haven't celebrated yet, but we
celebrated with the kids.
We celebrated with the kids, yeah, that's true.
We haven't done that.
Gave them their little presents.
One-on-one yet.
But yeah, so, anyway, so, take time to value the relationships in your life, whatever flavor they may be.
Yeah.
If you want to send us a message or chat with us in any way about anything that's happening in your life, we're happy to hear that. We'd like to be a safe space for everybody to be able to share.
Yes, and we've been enjoying.
Yeah, people have been reaching out.
The letters and
letting us know kind of some of the things that are happening in their life and in their world. We try to be kind of a bright spot for you all. And just kind of show you that there is a little bit of love in the world and you can find your piece of it. So anyway, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. I mean, by the time they get this, it's well past Valentine's Day.
So happy belated Valentine's Day.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.